hear me properly? I might have to plug in my thing actually, otherwise I'll get some sound interference.
I can't hear you, yeah. It says we are broadcasting. I think we are live now.
It says live. Yeah. It's coming through. Hey there, guys. Sorry about the delay.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. It seems to be happened yesterday because we tried to log on and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, we tried about a couple of hours, didn't we? I think
we did. Yeah, we did.
9?
I know. I hope. Yeah. Well, it's good that we finally got together and made it happen. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So let's see. I can definitely see it on my phone.
Yeah,
so I think we're.
I can see it on my YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. Okay.
5
awesome.
people watching as well. Great.
Cool. Well, yeah. I mean, hello everyone who's watching. I hope you guys are well. We had this planned for about a week or so. We're just going to go through some Ensar Oud samples that we've got here, and then also just talk about anything really, anything you guys want to know, any questions you have, and yeah, good to catch up with you, Wasim, actually, because we've met before.
Yeah, we did. We met November 2016. I remember it was when Chad came to London.
Right. Okay, yeah, you came down to London. Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah,
it feels like a long time actually.
It
so
does.
It's good that even if we don't meet in person, we can at least meet online.
Do live
which is kind of
streams. Cool. Yeah, exactly. So, what have your first impressions been of Ensar Oud?
So yeah, actually, just first of all, just wanted to check with everyone in the comments if the sound is all right, because I know sometimes it can be a little bit low. But anyway, let's just kick things off. Yeah, Ensar. So, my first impressions have been quite good. I was watching a lot of videos from people like yourself and Nikhil from Perfume Guru, Peter Fragrance View. There's quite a few others out there to mention as well. And it just sounded like a really interesting, just the way the company was set up and the effort and the knowledge that was possessed by the team. I was kind of interested. And actually, the thing with Ensar is that I realized I actually had heard of them about 5 or 6 years ago. When I kind of was getting into fragrances, I was part of one of the groups, one of the Facebook groups. And one of the guys on there, he was like a big oud guy and he was massively into it. And he mentioned this brand. And I remember going on their website and checking out these sample packs, which were like $400, and looking at all the other prices. And I was like, this is crazy. I can't really be paying this type of money for small amounts. But then, you guys started talking about it and I got into it.
So mine was similar as well. It was actually on the Facebook groups as well. I think I just posted in some oud oils. I bought very cheap ones on eBay. And one of the first comments I got was, I don't think these ones are real. You want to check out Ensar Oud. I think I picked them up for about £10 or so. It was a Hindi and a Cambodian. The Hindi was very skank. I went to his website and I saw the sample pack was about around 105, and I was like, no way, I'm gonna buy that. But then I got a message from Russian Adam. He heads up Feel Oud. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's another oud distiller. So he messaged me on Facebook. And he was like, do you want to try some ouds? Maybe you can review them. So he sent me a very generous sample pack from Thailand, I believe. And that was my first real introduction to real oud. So then I tested some of them. And then I saw Peter's video on Ensar Oud. And I think a week after seeing Peter's video, I placed an order using his discount code as well, Fragrance View. You get something like 10% off of it. So yeah, that was my introduction to Ensar, and since then I've tried other oud distillers. I've tried Habs oud. I've tried some Indicana oud. I think they're from Delhi in India.
Okay.
Distillers, but for me, so he is really the best source for oud. Like everything I've tried from Ensar has been top quality. I've never been disappointed by any of the oils that I've tried.
Yeah, yeah, you mentioned that to me earlier, and like, what? Why do you think that is? I mean, is it to do with the source of the oud, the contacts he has on the ground, the distillation process? I mean, he seems to have some rare oils there. Not even just oud, like some of the sandalwood stuff as well. So, I mean, I guess he's been in the game for a while. Like his knowledge must be why the oils are so interesting.
Not all in the elite, because he's originally from New York. I'm not sure how he got into oud, but I think because he's been working in the industry nearly maybe let's say 20 years, so he's probably set up so many contacts, and I'm not sure, but I think he's the type of person, he wouldn't release anything unless he's very happy with it himself.
Yeah.
So I think that goes to show as well. And I don't think he really does this entirely as a commercial, like a business sort of thing. I think he has a real love for oud as well.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a lot of some distillers out there who are just doing this purely to make money, whereas he's actually doing it for money as well as art, I believe, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true, and I think it comes through in the blends. And also, one thing I noticed on his website, and he also has they also have a YouTube channel. And one thing I noticed that he would say things like, you know, this oud should be selling for like double or 3 times the cost, or there are some of the oils that he's put out where he's probably putting them out at cost, or maybe he's not making a huge amount of profit just because he wants to share it with the community, which is quite, maybe doesn't make business sense, but I suppose from an enthusiast point of view, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another, he's great that he's doing a YouTube channel now. I think some of the videos are absolutely fascinating. Yeah. I'm still a massive newbie to the world of oud, so just watching those videos is like great education. Another channel that's great is from another distiller called Taha. I've seen a video by him, I think last year, where he's hired a few hunters and they're going into forests to look for oud trees, wild oud trees to distill. And I think they were looking a couple of days and didn't find any trees or anything like that. And it just puts into perspective how hard these guys work just to get oil out there and get these oud chips out there. I think that side many people don't actually see. They just see the oil at the end, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into these.
Yeah, true. Just before I get into my samples and your samples as well, maybe for those watching, or maybe like obviously we could potentially upload this later because not everyone's going to be able to join in. But do you want to like just let the guys know, since you definitely know more about oud than I do, do you want to let the guys know basically what it is and maybe how it's the process behind it, and then?
I'm still learning as well. From what I've gathered is it was first originally found in India, and I think it was found like thousands and thousands of years ago because it was mentioned in ancient Sanskrit scripts. I think the word that was used in the Sanskrit scripts in India was Gaharu, I believe.
Okay.
So it was in India first, and then it was used in Cambodia, and then later on they found some stuff in Papua New Guinea, and places like that. So there's is a particular type of species of tree in that region, and when that tree gets attacked by a particular fungus, the tree itself tries to fight back that infection, and the infection and the fight back that when it's fighting back, it produces this oud. So people, I believe, found this oud, they started burning it, and they saw that it had a lovely smell to it. Now, we've got oud oils here today, but oud as well, the chips can be burnt and used like incense.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, it's the burning of oud incense is done a lot in China and places like Japan. They're very much into burning the oud. And I feel from what I've read, it's a lot of the Arabs, the Saudi Arabian guys who uses the oil as more of a convenience of smelling oud. But the pure, real enjoyment of oud is actually burning the chips, the oud chips.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, is that something that you do? Do you do that at home, or maybe when you go to the mosque, the bahur that you guys use?
Yeah, I've not burnt any oud myself. I have burnt frankincense or gaban. I've burnt that at mosque, not at home just yet. But burning up oud is something I do want to get into. But at the moment, I haven't explored it just yet. How
Yeah,
about
yeah.
yourself? You
I
looking
have
to get
actually.
into
Yeah,
that?
that was. Yeah, I have. So, you know the brand Arabian Oud?
Yeah, I remember you mentioned this some time ago. Yeah,
Yeah, so they have a presence like everywhere really, and they've got a few stores in London. And I bought this. It was basically a Cambodian oud wood,
yeah,
and I bought some of the charcoal things, and I used to burn that now and again, and it produced this really amazing scent. But I actually ran out of that, so I need to get some more. But what I want to get, because I found sometimes the smell was a bit um, too smoky, and I think what you should do is you have this kind of square, not glass, but it's almost like a protective sheet that goes over the charcoal.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
want to maybe get one of those and just experiment, But
yeah.
yeah, cool.
So just seeing a comment from Peter that agarwood is also mentioned in the Bible as aloes wood. Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know it was mentioned in the Bible. It's mentioned in some hadith as well in the Islamic religion as well. So oud has been around for thousands and thousands of years, but I think it's become a lot more popular in the Western world in the last maybe 30 years or so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're seeing it. Every brand has a nude, and a lot of these brands aren't. It's not going to be real stuff. It's going to be the synthetic stuff. But I mean, it kind of like opens people's eyes. So I think that's.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. There's not been any real designer fragrance or a niche fragrance, which I would say really has like an authentic oud smell. But nevertheless, I still enjoy those type of fragrances anyway, and they're really a gateway into the oud oils.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think the one that really surprised me the most was actually a designer one from Ralph
Hmm.
Lauren, and they had one called Supreme Oud,
Oh, okay.
which yeah, kind of took me by surprise because I think it's based on an Indian. It's referred to as like Hindi oud.
Hmm.
And actually, that kind of really surprised me that the designer brand would do that. But I quite liked it as a designer sense.
I've tried their Supreme leather. I thought that was really nice as well.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, guys. So I'll just go. I was just going through some comments. Carl is saying, "Does Guerlain do a decent oud?" I think they do their own French version of oud, and they have a
Just in
Oriental
Chad's
collection.
comment.
Yeah.
Sorry, Raj, what were you saying?
Yeah, no. It's like, yeah, I think Guerlain do a couple of good ouds. They have one in the green bottle called Oud Essential or Essentiel,
Hmm.
which I think is more of a rose actually based scent. But they also have what was the other one they came out with? I think it was like Songe d'un Bois
Is it
d'été or something.
No, Santo Royale was based on Sandalwood. Ignore me. I've not
Yeah,
really
yeah.
tried any of the ouds from Guerlain. I think Guerlain's a terrific house, though.
I think yeah, I was checking out some of their fragrances yesterday actually, and there's some great stuff. Yeah, for sure.
There's a
Cool, man.
YouTuber that absolutely loves Guerlain. Smells good, I think.
AC. Oh no,
AC. No.
Eugene.
He's from Canada. He does a lot of
Yeah,
live streams. Eugene, that's it.
Eugene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
got a
awesome.
lovely collection of Guerlains.
Yeah, he does. He does. All right. So what I'll do is I'll show you guys what they come. So they come in this really cool, kind of like a velvety little box here, which is a really nice touch. I mean, straight away you're into like good quality packaging. The
Yeah,
oils
they've
come in.
actually those packaging is new because I've got one as well, and it was more of a fabric style
Ah,
instead of
okay.
the lovely velvet style. I've ordered some new ouds from Ensar a couple of weeks ago, and they came in the new packaging that you've just showed. So they've improved
Okay.
their packaging.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice when you open it up and you're like, okay, I'm probably going to be getting into something quite cool here. They come in this neat little velvet, not velvet, but it's just like a, you know, like a thing, little pouch here, and then all the oils come in basically like this. So yeah, you sent me a list of like all the ones that you've got, and which one should we talk about? One that we both have. I mean, I don't know. What you said that Oud Yusuf is your favorite one.
Yeah, Oud Yusuf from the first ones I've tried was my favorite one.
Yeah.
How's your experiences with Oud Yusuf?
Yeah, I think Oud Yusuf was the one that I actually first tried. So just do a little close up for you guys there. Yeah, this was the one that I first tried. In fact, I actually tried it at my desk at work because I couldn't wait to get into the package. So I went straight in for it. I'm going to do a little swipe now, and it's one of those where I've seen the comment on Ensar's website where people will say, you know, they don't even believe that it's oud. They're like, how is this an oud? You know, I think it comes from was it Thailand or Indonesia? I can't remember.
Yeah, Trat in Thailand.
I think I also saw on Peter, who's in the Fragrance View, who's in the comments actually. How you doing, Peter? He mentioned that somebody had actually bought the farmer had chopped down all the wood and sold them off. So I guess once Oud Yusuf is done, it's literally done, which seems to be the way with Ensar.
Yeah, when I met Ensar, he told me that as well. So I mentioned to him that Oud Yusuf was my favorite, and I said that would you ever go back and create Oud Yusuf Part 2? Because I've noticed that he re-releases some oud oils, and he said that there will never be Oud Yusuf again because the person that owned the plot of land and owned all the trees has cut them down and sold them all off. So.
I mean, money talks, isn't it, at the end of the day? So what are you going to do? First of all, actually, before I get into these oils, because I've got a few here, how do you apply them? Because what I have noticed is that depending on how I apply them and whether I put pressure on, like whether I spread it with the stick or dab with my hands, it alters the scent slightly. I mean, in the opening, maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So maybe I'll do it differently to what other people do. So I just apply directly under my beard, and that's the only place that I apply. Sometimes I apply behind my earlobes, but some people they apply to their wrists. I think the wrist is a great place to apply oud. Even on top of your arm is a great place. The earlobes is probably the perfect place because you get a very lovely scent cloud. But for me, I only apply below on my neck, below my beard line.
Okay.
And that's simply because throughout the day, if I'm praying, I need to wash my arms and I wash below my earlobes and whatnot. So if I apply oud there, it sort of washes away. So for me, I only apply below my neckline. I think that gives me a nice scent cloud. It doesn't push out too strongly so other people don't get offended and only I can smell it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I remember watching your review, which was it was a really good review.
Thank you.
I remember you mentioned that in fact, this is something you do quite a lot. You talk about memories from childhood or like food related stuff that comes to your mind. And one thing I've noticed with these Ensar oils is they all smell very, in a good way, they smell very Indian, or like I will pick up on things that remind me of when I was in India or Indian food or like religious festivals or things like that. And but it's not it's blended in a way that I like to have it on my skin, you know. And for me, this was, as you said, that mango kind of pickle kind of thing. It had that vibe, but in a sweet, fruity way, which I thought was so good. And
so pleasing. Yeah,
absolutely. It has a sugary quality, I felt. And it has none of that heavy, woody, smoky, almost rubbery type feel that you can get with some ouds, which it does open your eyes as to what actually an oud can smell like. Because somebody can say, oh, I've tried this oud, and I'm not a fan. But really, there are 1,001 different scent profiles.
Exactly. I've got 10 samples of Ensar's ouds here, and none of them smell the same. They all smell very, very, very different. Some are polar opposites of each other. And now with Oud Yusuf, say a niche brand was release a Oud scent, a lot of people in the reviews would say this is actually not even real Oud. It doesn't smell like Oud.
Yeah.
And I've been critical of that in the past as well. Like I've mentioned stuff by Creed, was it Royal Oud? I've mentioned that it doesn't even smell like Oud. But then, what does Oud really even smell like? Because I've got 10 samples of Ensar's Ouds here, and numerous other samples in my sample drawer, and they all smell very, very different.
Sure.
In the past, I thought Oud was this barnyard, skanky sort of woody smell, but then we're talking about Ensar Ouds, Oud Yusuf, and this is like a very smooth, sweet, sugary mango pickles type of smell.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't think Oud itself is a particular sort of smell, because Oud oil differs in its scent profile depending on the type of tree as well and which type of region it comes from. A lot of the skanky barnyard stuff comes from India and Bangladesh.
Sure.
You get some of the fruitier stuff coming from Cambodia. You get some of the earthy stuff coming from the jungle of Morocco. Just places like that. So it's hard to define what is actually the smell of oud, because it can be so different.
That's true. Yeah, that is really interesting. And you know, I think what I've picked up with these scents is I've got, so I'll let you and everyone, all the viewers, know which ones I've got. So I ordered Oud Yusuf, I ordered Oud Extraordinaire, I ordered Santal Royale, which is a Mysore sandalwood from like the 70s or something like that. Wow. I ordered Thai Tabak and Aroha Kyaku. And Adam also threw in some smaller samples of Iris Noir, which I really want to speak about because I think it's incredible. And he also threw in Sar Ceylon. And yeah, you know, as you said, the scent profile of all of them can really, really differ. You don't have Oud Extraordinaire, do you?
No, I don't. I think that's one of a new one. Is that from Sri Lanka, Oud Extraordinaire?
I believe it. You know what? Let me just go onto the website, because Oud Extraordinaire is almost, I mean, to be honest, it's pretty much, I would describe it as a gourmand oud. I mean, it really is. The sweetness is unbelievable. In fact, let me just quickly go onto the Ensar website. As you can see, guys, I'm holding it upside down, and I've warmed it up a little bit in my hands, but it doesn't move. I mean, it was so still before. Like, you know, when you wake up in the morning and your room is a little bit cold and you're trying to apply these, but the thing's not moving. It's like, come on, I'm trying to wear you, but yeah, it's really sticky. So let me see, Oud Extraordinaire, just 1 second.
From a jungle called Ray Ong. I'm just searching where that is.
Oh, that sounds...
It's in Thailand.
Yeah. Just the name sounds like Thailand. Yeah, so let me just go through this. Let me just open this up. I won't apply it, but extremely thick. I mean, really extremely thick.
Yeah. Just seeing it on his website, it's $39, which is okay for an oud or from Ensar in terms of price.
Do you know, I think it's one of his cheaper ones. But we say cheap, but you know.
Exactly, I know. In relative terms.
Yeah. So for me, Oud Extraordinaire, I think at first this was my favorite. And it was one of those that it's on the verge of like blowing me away. Because there is this incredible honey / caramel sweetness that I've never experienced in an oud. I'm like, you know, people, as we said, does this actually contain oud? Like, we don't want to question his like integrity or anything, because it is genuine stuff, right? But the scent profile is, this could be like it's a gourmand fragrance. You know, this could be like a Guerlain vanilla inspired sweet fragrance.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's got an almost slightly, I've noticed with oud that they have an almost mentholy or camphory kind of vibe. Like, you know, when you smell Vicks Vapor Rub?
Yeah.
That effect on the nose?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get that with Oud Yusuf, actually. Yeah.
It develops really nicely. Oud Yusuf, the performance was kind of like in terms of longevity was on you like all right, but not amazing, right?
Longevity on my skin was very, very good. I got about 10
good.
hours.
Oh, okay.
Projection for the first, I'd say 5 to 6 hours is quite strong. I wouldn't say it's quite beast mode, but it was quite healthy on my skin. How did you find the performance for you?
Right. For some reason, I thought you said it wasn't the best. I don't know why I thought that.
Okay.
It was good, but not great on my skin.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to apply it differently, because when I was applying it, I was like almost not like forcefully, but slightly swiping it with the stick. I found that if I just literally swipe and almost leave it, it blooms a little bit better. And I was getting about 6 hours of noticeable, let's say, longevity. Like obviously projection and all that, it's an oil, so there's no alcohol, so I'm not really getting that too much with this one. But I thought it was going to go on for a little bit longer. I still need to test it a little bit more, but it was at that level where I'm happy with it, but I wouldn't mind a couple more hours. But
yeah, you're testing it right now in the winter, and it's quite cold right now as well. So it'd be interesting to see what sort of performance you get in the summer, or maybe in the spring.
Sure. And you wear.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say.
No, what I was going to say is, do you wear it to work? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, so I do wear Ouds to work, but I have a rule never to wear Hindis. That's the only rule. In terms of Ensar stuff, I'm surprised I've actually not wore Oud Yusuf to work, because I find Oud Yusuf is quite strong on my skin. But the ones that I have worn to work from Ensar Oud is one called Encens Royale 1985. So this is an oud oil that was distilled in 1985. So it's a very aged oud oil, and I've absolutely loved this one. It's not skanky in any way, and I've worn this one to work. I've also worn his Borneo 50K. This one actually he gifted to me when I went to meet him. I think this one retails the sample pack. I mean, the sample of this is probably around £400. Just this little sample here.
Wow.
And I was blown away that he actually allowed me to take this one.
You know, I actually emailed. Just in case the viewers don't know, if you go onto somebody else's channel or like who's reviewed Ensar, not everyone, but I think some people have got a comment from Adam himself, and he will offer a discount code. So what I did is that when I went onto the website, in the comment section, you just type in. So I typed in Fragrance View, like Peter's thing, and you get 10% off. But I actually forgot to do that, so I had to email him and say, do you mind retrospectively doing it, which he was more than happy to do. I also mentioned that we're going to do this live stream, and he did say to me, let me know, make sure you ask Wasim about Borneo 50K.
Okay, he actually said that.
Yeah.
I've been testing it for a few weeks now. Actually, since I think I met him in October, or was it November? I still need to test it a little bit more, because it's very complex. All of his ouds are quite complex. They have so many different characteristics to them that I find it quite difficult to review ouds, but I'll give it my best shot anyway.
Sure, yeah.
This is Borneo 50K. I can wear this to work anytime. It's such a pleasing oud. It has like a beautiful, like a minty eucalyptus sort of feel, and there's some vanilla in there, some touch of spices. It's a beautiful oud, and I can understand why people would pay such a high amount for it. Would I personally pay that if I had the money? I definitely would. But it is a beautiful oil.
I was thinking that just now, actually. You know, what is your limit? Because once you get into something, there's almost like no way back. I mean,
yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I often think, but the question that everyone asks, you know, if you were a millionaire, what would you spend? But I don't think I would go crazy even if I was a millionaire, because there is like a limit, really, as like, how much do you want to spend just to smell good? Like, how much do you value smelling good? But you would buy a full size of Borneo 50K.
If
you could.
If I could, I probably would. at my current stage where I am in, let's say, my fragrance journey,
sure.
I've sort of made a promise to myself that I would only buy samples, and that's simply because I've bought full bottles of, say, designer or niche fragrances, and I find that after maybe a year or so, a few months or so, my tastes drastically change, and I just feel like it's a lot of money just standing around my drawer, and I'm not really using it. Sure. So what I do is I only ever buy maybe 5 ml decants or 10 ml decants on the Facebook groups, and with the oud oils, because every single, like, say for example, Oud Yusuf, I didn't buy a sample pack. I just bought a 3 ml bottle for £200. That would be my only oud in my collection, but I would rather use that £200 to buy a number of, like, say, 10 or 15 different samples, and just sample a whole range of ouds. I think there's, for me personally, I get more enjoyment sampling different things every single day rather than wearing the same thing all the time.
Interesting. Sure. Let's see what the comments what's going on in the comments. Christian says his scent of the day is actually Ensar White Quinam. Nice. With royal frankincense. Yeah. Yeah, Peter's saying 6 to 8 hours as usual for the ones that he's tested. Yeah.
I find that with most others as well, 6 to 8 hours is what I typically get. It's not a bad thing, because after work, I just apply something else.
It's fine. Did either of you get a chance to smell Shang Liao Ling? No, I didn't, but I know that he's a big fan of it. I don't believe it's actually in production now or something along those lines.
I've not seen it on his website. I think it must have been sold out.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, what the thing with not just Ensar Oud, but a lot of brands, and even like the commercial mainstream fragrances, is that, like, you know, natural ingredients are going to be a finite resource, and if something gets chopped down and sold, or you can't get your hands on it, or there's some sort of government control on a potential product, you put out a fragrance, and if you can't get that ingredient again, you have to discontinue it. And I've noticed that he has a lot of fragrances like that where they're no longer in production. I think he has a section on his website called Oud Legends.
Yeah.
And you just go through like loads, page of, well, not a huge list of fragrances that or oils that are no longer in production. But that's the nature of the game, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my regrets with one of his oud oils that I have. It's called Assam Organic.
Okay.
It's a Hindi oud,
right?
And it's possibly one of the best Hindis I've tried. It is quite skanky, but it has a lovely, like you've said, it has like it reminds you of being in India. So for me, Assam Oud, it smells like I'm walking through a field on a hot, sweltering day, and there's like hay everywhere. That's the sort of feel that I get from this one. It's a very gentle spiciness and tobacco in the scent, with a touch of leather as well. It's absolutely gorgeous. But this one, again, is now part of the Oud Legend collection, so you can't actually buy a bottle.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, so, you know, when we say like Assam, right? Because obviously that's in India, but it doesn't have any of that skankiness, you're saying?
This one, it has a very faint level of touch. Because you could definitely sense that it's an Assam or a Hindi style oud, but it's not so super off-putting. Some Hindi oud ouds that I've tried, some of the cheaper ones can be really skanky.
Yeah, I've got some oils, one from Bangladesh and one which is also called Assam Black or something like that. And actually, the Assam one is quite tough to handle. The Bangladesh one is super skanky, but somehow it's kind of like nice in a weird way.
Yeah.
You know, especially when I actually, on this jumper, it's not there anymore, but I had some that Bangladesh oud. This is from the UK-based website oud.co.uk with the H on the end.
Okay, yeah.
And wow, like when it lingered on fabric, the skankiness was kind of there, but it was like this sweet smokiness, which was just unbelievable in the long into the progression. But yeah, so
Bangladeshi oud also. Sorry, just for the benefit of the viewers, Bangladeshi oud is also considered oud Hindi as well, because obviously back in the day, Bangladesh and India were the same country, and I think oud Hindi is like a term used by the Arabs. So to differentiate where the Hindi is like anything from the Indian region or Bangladesh region.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that actually. I always found it strange how they called it Hindi, because Hindi is obviously the national language of India. So it was a kind of like a weird description, but I guess I don't know.
Yeah, so I think Arab people, Abdul Karim Al Faransi.
Yeah.
So Al Faransi means the Frenchman.
Yeah.
And Al Hindi means someone who's from India. So they don't use the word Indians, they use the word Hindi to refer to people from India. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Didn't know that. It's interesting. So one of them that both of us have is Aroha. You have Aroha Kyaku, right?
Yeah. This one was recommended to me by Nikhil from Perfume Guru, actually.
Perfume Guru, yeah. He's another great source of actually a lot of these oils.
Absolutely.
I think he knows a lot. He's tried a lot, and it's good to just. I think he has like top 10 ouds or things like that. Also, there's another guy who I've recently found. Is I want to say maybe Spanish, but I could be completely wrong.
He is Spanish. Julio Mucho.
Yeah, he's really into his ouds actually.
Yeah, he's got a brilliant collection, and he's very. He releases a lot of videos as well. He's very consistent. He's got both like really high-end niche, high-end indie houses, and he's really into his utters and ouds as well. So I'll watch a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Julio Mucho and Perfume Guru, they're the two guys that really pump out the oud reviews.
For sure. So what was your first impression of Aroha Kyaku, which, by the way, I'll do a little close-up for everyone there. You can see the color is pretty dark, pretty black.
I've got when I first met Aroha Kyaku, it reminded me of another oud that I've got from Ensar Oud that I sampled last year. This one is called Oud Dull Q, which I've also reviewed on the channel, and they both share similarities in that they're both are very like smoky, very thick, smoky, burning wood sort of feel.
Yeah.
But I feel like Aroha Kyaku is a light version of Oud Dull Q.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Aroha Kyaku, I need to test it a little bit more, but I find that in the opening few stages, it's very, very linear on my skin. It's just a ton of smoke and black, dark smoke is what I sort of get.
Yeah.
However, after the 6 and 8 hour mark, it starts becoming a little bit more warmer on my skin. I get sort of feel of like actual burning of wood. That's the sort of smell that I get, a sort of like a campfire sort of feel. I tested this a couple of weeks ago. I wore it, I think 4 o'clock in the afternoon after an evening shower. I could smell it on myself all day. I think I fell asleep around 11 o'clock. I woke up the next day about 7, and I could still smell it on my skin. And when I woke up at 7 o'clock, the smell was much, much better than what I was getting earlier in the day. So for me, Aroha Kyaku, it gets better and better the longer it stays on your skin.
Interesting.
How was your experiences with it?
It was one of those where when I first I was a little bit unsure about adding it to my basket. In fact, I added it to my basket, removed it, and then I thought, no, you know what, let me just add it back again.
All right, yeah.
And I think with fragrances, it's always good to experiment, even if you're outside of your comfort zone. And this is definitely outside of my comfort zone. I mean, the first time I tried it, my literal reaction, even though I didn't capture it on camera, it was literally this. I took it out, took the wand out, put it to my nose, and just went like, just went back because it was it was strong. I mean, this is definitely it's not my style. Like it's too barbecue-y actually for me, is what I would say.
That's something my sister mentioned. I said to her, "What do you think of this oud?" And she hates oud, by the way.
Okay.
And she was like, "It just smells like barbecue sauce. So it has that sort of feel."
It's a weird
there's a touch of sweetness to it as well, I find.
There is a bit of sweetness, and actually, as you said, as it dries down, but after a long time, you have to wait a long time for it to dry down. Actually, it turns into something that I can definitely tolerate and actually kind of like. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, do you know Patchouli? I think it's Patchouli 24 by Le Labo.
I've not tried that one.
That's like when people talk about smoky barbecue meat in fragrances, that's the one. That's another one which I can't really, yeah, it's too much. But you know, it's all about as you mentioned, like your journey, your fragrance journey, appreciating different notes, trying out different things. I mean, I think only the enthusiast is going to spend this type of money on this. And I was kind of feeling that I wasn't really going to like it, and my gut feeling was true. But I'll wear it, you know, I'll refer back to it. It's good to know like the different types of profiles, but it's pretty tough for me. I can't handle it.
Yeah, for me, Oud Q, you sort of get what you get in the dry down of Orejo Kiaku from the get-go. This one, you really smell the really luxurious, high-quality woods being burnt straight off the bat for me. But I picked up Orejo Kiaku because this is actually Nicole's favorite oud oil from Ensar.
Okay, really?
I think he picked up an older batch though, because Ensar just recently released this one, Orejo Kiaku. Another one Nicole really likes is Lushai Hills from a brand called Agawood Assam.
Okay.
So I wore that a couple of weeks ago. I picked up a sample from Stephen Sproti. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So I picked that one up. And that's a Hindi oud oil, which doesn't have like really any skanky or barnyardy notes. It's just a very smooth, leathery, but quite a softer Hindi oud oil.
Sure. That sounds interesting. I'll have to check it out. There are lots of different brands. Like when you discover oud, you hear about all these names like Feel Oud. You know, obviously Arige Ladore is kind of different, but they do have some interesting oud-based ones in there as well. And I've got some samples from Abdul Karim Al Faranzi.
Yeah.
Which is a nice like entry level. There's some good stuff there actually. There's some couple of things I thought were quite nice.
Yeah, so Abdul Karim Al Faranzi, I've got about 30 of his samples actually, because I really enjoy his stuff. I wouldn't say his stuff is pure 100% natural. I definitely detect some synthetics in there, but for me, that's not a bad thing for the price you're paying. I think this is a great perfume entry into the wearing oils. I've reviewed some of his stuff on my website. I mean, on my YouTube as well. But yeah, his others are very, very pleasing, and they're definitely the best recommendation for a beginner. And after Al Faranzi, I would recommend some of the guys that are more independent, guys like Sultan Pasha. Have you tried anything from him?
He's based in the UK, right?
Yeah, based from London. I think he used to work at Bloom Perfumery.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he used to work there back in the days. So he's got a background in perfumery.
Okay.
He's not classically trained like you get with some French perfumers like Francis Kurkdjian or anything like that, but he's got a background in chemistry as well, and that kind of helps him with his compositions. I've tried a few other sellers, but Sultan Pasha, his stuff, he's really the king of others. What's the first one that I tried from him really blew me away. The name just eludes me at the moment. Aurum de Encore. I gave a sample of that to Peter actually. It's a saffron, oud, and jasmine-based fragrance, and it's phenomenal. It's absolutely beautiful. You definitely need to get his sample pack. I think his sample pack sells for about £70, and I think you get 30 different small others in there.
That's not too bad actually. That's quite good.
And for the quality that you get as well. So he actually sources the best materials in the world. He uses Ensar Ouds in his compositions as well as a base.
Right. I thought it was quite interesting actually that a lot of, and it actually kind of makes complete sense that a few other brands will then go to Ensar to actually, you know, use his oils in their creations. And that's quite interesting, because you wear these oils, you try some of these oils, and it's like a fragrance in itself. You know, it has so many nuances, and if you imagine then adding that to lots of other oils, I mean, the effect must be incredible.
Yeah, so for today, my scent of the day is another attar seller called Mellifluence, which I really enjoy. I'm wearing his attar called To the Rose, and one of the notes in there is a Hindi oud oil from the house of Habs Oud. It's called Mukmil. Now I've got Mukmil, the oud oil, and I've got his To the Rose where he uses a bit of that oud oil in there, and I can't actually detect much of that Mukmil oud oil from Habs Oud. It's a very velvety, slightly creamy, skanky Hindi oud, but from the To the Rose from Mellifluence, I'm just smelling a lot of rose, a lot of saffron, and some nutmeg. So a lot of the times these other sellers use his oud oils, but just a tiny amount, just to give a little bit more character to the composition.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, as we said, you know, going down the rabbit hole, it really, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what's
I think I've got.
Comments.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you saying?
I've got a few more reviews of Mellifluence. Elixir Attar is another great brand. Some Sultan Pasha Attars I'm going to release on my channel. Once I'm finished reviewing them, I'm going to maybe send you over some of the samples, because I've got loads over the samples to test.
Okay, cool. Yeah, appreciate it.
Might as well just give them to you. Yeah, no worries. I've actually given out a lot of samples through the Facebook groups.
Cool.
Some of the reviewers as well, because I've found once I've reviewed something, I tend not to go back to it because I want to test more new stuff for reviews. I think that's one of the curses of being a YouTube reviewer, especially in my case. I've stopped wearing stuff to just purely for my own benefit, because I'm just testing new things for reviews.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It sometimes can feel like this conveyor belt, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you know, it depends on what your attitude is towards YouTube. I mean, some people will review stuff because they think, you know, a lot of other people want to hear about it. Whereas I think I kind of do that, and I think maybe you kind of do that, but I think both of us also have this thing where if we like it, we're gonna try it, buy it, sample it because we like it, and then we might as well just since we talk in front of a camera, we might as well talk about it. And maybe some other people will like it, you know.
Cool. I find that with my YouTube channel, it's like a diary really of my experiences of all the fragrances that I've tried. A lot of the ouds and some of the others that I've reviewed actually now discontinued, and you can't actually buy them, but I still review them anyway.
Yeah. That's
just seen a comment from Will Hawks. He said he's heard good things about Elixir Attar, and I have to say Elixir Attar he's really up there with Sultan Pasha in terms of the quality that I've tried. Unbelievable compositions. He also makes not just Middle Eastern inspired oils, but he's also got oils that are influenced by French perfumery as well. So the Sultan Pasha, he's got one called Iris Soir, which is absolutely beautiful. Focuses on iris, and it just smells like old school perfumery that you would find in France. It doesn't have the typical Middle Eastern Oriental feel to it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note of some of these, and guys, if you have any other recommendations for places to get attars and oud oils from, then let us know. But yeah, you know, I've got this huge list of fragrance brands I want to try out. And in terms of oud, there's also this one called Oudimentary. I don't know if you know much about them.
Rudimentary, I think I've probably seen some of the. Do they have some YouTube videos?
Yeah, they had a kind of like a documentary kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, actually, you mentioned iris and you mentioned classic French style. One of the complimentary samples, which I really appreciated, that Adam gave me, it was one of his newer ones on his channel, and he's actually mentioned it in a video where he talks about iris, and this one is Iris Noir. And I tell you what, I kind of wasn't expecting this. Like, I don't associate iris and that style of perfumery with oud. But what I believe is that this is a blend of different oils. He uses different types of ouds. He uses different orris, like finest quality orris, which takes such a long time to produce, to come out with the butter. And this, you know, if I'm honest, of all the ones that I have, this actually might be my favorite, and it just wasn't on my radar at all.
Oh.
It's not oud dominant. In fact, if you smell it, you might not even pick up on oud. But then as it goes back to what we were saying about, you know, do we even know what oud is? But I wore this to work a few days ago, and I was kind of slightly unsure. You know, we're always slightly unsure about when something is new. How is it going to be received in the office? It's like a different type of environment.
I've actually received a compliment. One of the very few compliments I get wearing fragrances from a oud-based fragrance. It was Oud Kadim from the house of Junaid Jamshed. It was from a female colleague, and she said I smelled really nice. She said I smelled like a guy from Sex and the City, one of the lead characters. He's meant to be like an alpha male type. I forgot what his name is.
Mr. Big.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was that. It was
Not
a few years
watched,
ago.
Sex and the City. I mean,
oh, I'm sure you don't.
I've heard the name. Like,
yeah. So that was one of the few compliments that I've got. That he was quite an alpha male type of scent.
Interesting. You know, if you can, whenever you do your next purchase, I would say pick up a sample of Iris Noir.
Yeah.
This opens up. I feel like if Chanel came out with this fragrance, I would be like, yeah, totally. This definitely smells like a Chanel. It comes out with this unbelievable, creamy, soft, but actually still quite potent iris comes through.
Yeah.
It's very like, I want to say potentially like aldehydic. It does remind me of kind of a mixture between, I want to say, a little bit of Cuir de Russie and a little bit of potentially, there's another one from, I can't remember, La Pausa, I think it is. It's from their exclusive line. It's a blend of all those different types of, you know, it feels very Guerlain-like as well. But it's very measured. It's very like, I don't wear a suit to work. I wear semi-formal. To be honest, bordering more on casual. But I felt underdressed. I felt like I had to be wearing a suit with this one.
Wow.
And the performance was so nice, and the opening, and it faded after about 8 hours. But I mean, that's totally cool. But
yeah, I definitely want to check out some of Ensar's Oud blends, because he's got the Sultan leather, he's got Sultan musk. Ties the back is one I want to try as well. I think you've got one of them, haven't you?
Yeah, I can talk about that if you want me to.
Yeah, please.
So one as I've been going through these oils, one of the things that comes into my mind is that I really like Ensar Oud. It's definitely a brand that I'm really glad I've discovered and finally actually bought some samples after seeing them years ago and then being put off by the price. But it very much this brand reminds me of, not reminds me in terms of scent profile, but the admiration I have towards Serge Lutens and Frédéric Malle is kind of how, at the moment, how I'm feeling towards Ensar. So with those, I mean, you know Serge Lutens, right? I mean, you like your Shaggy is probably one of your. Have you still got that actually?
Yeah, I've still got a bottle of that. I do wear it sometimes, but obviously because I'm testing new stuff, I've not really reached for it much. And I love Frédéric Malle as well. I love the fact that they put the perfumers' names on their fragrances. That's really about the art. Yeah,
that's really good. I mean, it puts them on the map. That's awesome. And the thing with those brands, though, even though I've had a few from them, I don't necessarily want to own all of them. And I feel like they're kind of brands that I can admire and think, wow, like, how do you put that together? You know, where are you getting these ingredients from? You wouldn't necessarily think that some of these ingredients go together, but sometimes they do. But a lot of the time, I won't really want to buy them, or I won't really want that type of scent on my skin.
Yeah.
And I kind of have felt that way with some of Ensar's stuff. Like, where is it? Like Aroha was interesting. Sar Ceylon was interesting. I liked it. Oud Yusuf, I like it, but I'm not sure if I would buy it at this stage.
Yeah.
Iris Noir was a knockout for me. And you mentioned where is it? Sorry, what was the one you just mentioned? Thai tobacco.
Thai tobacco, yeah.
This I think I actually dislike it, if I'm honest. I'm not sure. I want to test it a little bit more. I've literally tried it once, but this is incredibly potent stuff. And I think if you're not used to smelling this, these concentrated oils, if you're a newbie, like you're wearing like Cool Waters and Nissa Miyakis, this is going to absolutely knock you on your ass, because this is some potent stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the most intense. It's like the most intense. It's kind of like a spicy, tobacco-y body lotion kind of thing, which I don't know if that's a great way of describing it, but it was so strong. From the wand, actually, or from this dipper, actually, I'm kind of liking it. But when I put it on skin, I think maybe I applied a little bit too much. I might just do a little bit now, actually, just see if there's anything different. But this is full on. It comes out real swinging straight away. I don't know if I can get into it though. It's, when it really just like takes over all your nasal passages and everything.
All right.
And you're like, it's like a big bright light going off, and you're just blinded, and you don't know what you're smelling. It's crazy. I might do a little search actually on their website to see what it's saying. So which other ones were you into? Which other ones were, if you had to say like top 3 from the brand?
Top 3, I really love Ensar Royale 1985.
Yeah.
For me, that one, I know I talk about maize a lot and in my perfume. That one, it's the image that conjures up in my head is like a abandoned building or an abandoned cabin that you find in the forest, and you walk in there and there's loads of dust everywhere. Yeah. And there's some wooden furniture in there, and the wooden furniture is now covered with moss and some grass. That's the sort of smell that I get. It's sort of, have you watched the scary film called It? That clown film?
That's a clown. I've read the book as well. Yeah.
So the new one that I saw it in the cinema, and when the kids are inside his haunted house, that's the sort of house that conjures up in my mind with that smell. So I definitely pick up, it's really weird, but I pick up like a dusty, the smell of dust. I don't know what the smell of dust is, but that's the sort of smell that I get.
Yeah, I know.
And it reminds me when I was like 5 and 6 years old, when I was playing hide and seek with my cousins and brothers, and I used to like hide in like a little store pantry, and the smell of some of the dust in there and some of the woods in there, it sort of reminded me of that one. So Ensar Royale 1985 is one of my favorites from Ensar Oud.
Right.
It's an aged oil from 1985. Another one that I really like from Ensar is Tigerwood Royale. This again is another aged oud oil from Malaysia from the year 2001.
Wow.
It's hard to pick 3. Everyone knows I love Oud Yusuf. Also love Borneo 50K.
Right.
But then I'd say Assam Organic is one that I absolutely love as well. It has. I
guess you're gonna cherish that one.
Yeah, I've only got that much left. But this one, I don't think I'll ever find a full bottle of it. But it's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Christian's just given his top 3 from Ensar. He's got Assam Kinam, Borneo Kinam, and Jungle Kinam. So Kinam's one of his favorite. Kinam's meant to be very, very expensive as well.
Oh, you know what? I mean, one thing I got a bit confused by, I need to kind of look into this, but there's so many different words that are thrown out there, like Kinam and Kiara. And there's a few other things. Like,
I think Kinam and Kiara are the same thing, unless I'm completely wrong. Someone correct me in the comments, but I think Kinam and Kiara are the same. I think it's a Chinese oud Kinam. And from what I've heard on this, from what I've heard, the Chinese or it was one region, maybe it's Vietnam or something like that. They used to sell a lot of this Kiara or this Kinam wood to Japan because I think Vietnam or people from that region who had the wood just thought it was just any wood that they found in the forest. But the Japanese actually really revered the wood, and they knew the beautiful qualities of this oud in terms of how it smells. And they've got a massive stockpile of this in Japan. And this must have happened hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But that's the story that I've heard.
They don't. I mean, you were saying that Japan, they burn.
Yeah, Will's just confirmed. Kiara is specifically Vietnam. It's from Vietnam.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we got a few guys in the comment section here watching. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Vitor on Instagram, Vumendok, Donk. He's been
I really like Vitor's reviews on Instagram. He's reviewed stuff by The Perfumist as well. There's a other company called The Perfumist. They've got a very strange backstory, very similar to Creed. They've said that they've created oud actors for royalty. I'm not sure how much of that I actually believe, but Vitor has done a review of some of their oils, and I think some of them he mentioned actually smell quite synthetic. So, yeah.
I guess it's a bit of a shady world, you know. You hear about these stories how people will say this is wild oud, or they will just color it, or you know they will inject the trees with these toxins or whatever, and that affects the scent. It's not like the proper stuff, and you know it's a money making industry. I remember reading this article ages ago about somebody was so desperate for some oud because it's so valuable, market value, you know, is high. They went out into the forest, into a wild forest, and one of the hunters, you know, who's probably some poor guy, you know, the owner or his boss has said to him, go out into the jungle, chop down some wood, and he actually got attacked and killed by a tiger.
Wow.
So,
oh my God.
That's I mean, Adam better be careful when he's roaming around these jungles.
Yeah,
you never know.
I read an article years ago as well when I was getting into ouds, and I think I searched Google for the differences in the different regions of the world and what impacts it has on the scent profile of oud. And I read about there's a specific jungle where it's actually protected by armed guards. So if anyone tries to get into this jungle to cut the trees, gain the oud, now there a lot of people there are quite desperate for money. You see it in certain regions of the world where they kill rhinos for their horns and whatnot. So it was crazy to me that there's some jungles out there which are guarded by guys with guns, and if you try to get in, they'll actually shoot you.
That's insane. That is insane. But you know, this is what happens when money gets involved, because people will do anything in their power to just buy something. And actually, if you think about it, even though we talk about oud, how it's so steeped in history, in religious terms, and it's worn all around the Middle East, and you know, some people in Asia will be buying up oud like it's an investment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just a product that you put onto your skin to smell good. And don't you think like the industry has gone a bit crazy with this lust lusting after it?
Absolutely. One of the reasons why oud is now pretty much gone forever, there's certain regions, like there was an abundance of oud trees, but now these have all been cut, and that's because of demand. It's similar to how there's chickens now that are caged and whatnot. You know, the meat industry treats animals so horrifically, and that's simply because of demand from us, because we are a population that eats so much meat. It's similar with oud. These wild trees have all just been cut down, and they're now become endangered because of demand. I read somewhere that someone has a theory that because of the Arab countries now becoming rich with oil money, they've now been able to buy so much oil, so much oud, and one of the reasons why there's such less oud trees is because of that demand coming from Arabia.
Sure.
And it is quite a sad thing, because maybe in 100 years or so, there won't be any wild oud trees left. And it's a shame. So for me, in a certain way, I don't really mind these cultivated farms of trees. If there's going to be people going to make organic oud from cultivation trees, I think it's fine. Instead of going out there and cutting wild trees down, I think if you want to enjoy oud oil, it's absolutely fine to have organic farm trees.
I think it sounds like that's the future. And I think there's this company, I can't remember, like the Malaysian plantation company or something like that. And I think either they provide their oils to Fragrance du Bois, or Fragrance du Bois owns, it probably doesn't own the company, but they probably get their oils from there. And yeah, I think like, but what, that's the way forward. They're basically planting these trees. I think they drill holes into the tree, but I don't know if they will inject anything into there, or do they just drill the hole and then let the tree do its
thing? So I've heard there's different styles to it. So some people, and this is the style that people don't typically like, is when they infect the trees with some strange chemicals. But then there's some oud distillers who would just make cuts in trees, and then they would hope that these trees with the cuts would start getting infected, and then the tree itself would have that natural reaction to create the oud. Speaking of that, there's a very strange story that I read on the internet, and it's about the Vietnam War. And it says that because so many bullets were fired into these forests, that a lot of the oud in Vietnam is because of these bullets being fired. It cut up all these trees, and because the trees were cut up, they were susceptible to infection, and because they were getting infected, these trees then developed the oud oil. I don't know how much of that is myth or how much of that is real, but it's quite a cool story.
Well, that's the thing with the industry, is like you don't know what is what sometimes. I mean, can you imagine how far anybody or even guys watching this, how far you've come from not even hearing about ouds, not even knowing what it is, to where you are now? I mean, there's so much in between that, if you go to, we see these brands, like we mentioned Ralph Lauren earlier, they have an oud fragrance. Tom Ford possibly is the one who is, through M7 and through his private blend, are the ones who really introduced it to the mass market.
Raj, I'll be back in a second. Just one second.
Yeah, sure. All right, guys. Let's just see what's going on in the comments here. Reload. There are warehouses of wild oud. The price keeps increasing. There are folks that are still cooking it, but the price is getting to be a bit crazy. Yeah. I mean, who knows? With all these different brands out there putting out all these different types of oud, you don't know what is what. But I think the proof is in the pudding. You smell something, and if it stands out to you, like for me, when I was trying these Ensar Ouds, they really stood out for me. And then I tried it, and I thought, well, yeah, I can see there's been so much effort that's gone into these creations, that you can kind of see why it does cost so much. Although from as an outsider looking in, you can very easily think that, oh, they're just charging so much for no reason. But guys, while we're on this bit of an interval, if you guys want to drop some comments down below, or if you guys have any questions, because we're not just going to be talking about oud and Ensar, we're going to be talking about general fragrance stuff, like what fragrances are on your to buy list, or if you have any questions about I don't know, like the fragrance community, or just anything that's on your mind, really, go ahead and leave it down below. Cool. Maybe if you guys want to let us know, what is your favorite, since we are talking about ouds, what is your favorite what's your favorite oud fragrance? Whether it be a more commercial brand or whether it be from an oil, which one is your number one? The one that maybe you couldn't live without. That'll be interesting to hear. Hey, Wasim.
Hey, I'm back.
Yeah, cool. I was just saying to the guys that if they have any questions about anything else, not just we're not just going to be talking about Ensar and Oud, any fragrances that they have been testing recently or like on their to buy list or whatever. And then I also said, what's your favorite oud of all time? Whether it be an oil or a spray. And actually, what is your favorite oud in a spray form?
Spray format. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of spray format, I'm not going to mention things from Rij Lidori or Bortnikov because they're just so special. It's quite easy for them to be the best because they actually use the real stuff. Right. So talking about like say niche or designer, I'm a massive fan of Indonesian oud from the Xenia house.
Okay.
I think the whole collection is fantastic.
Right.
Indonesian oud has
I think you're just cutting out. Actually, I can't actually hear you.
Like some.
Wasim, you're just cutting out. Actually, I think I missed that bit.
Indonesian oud and oud palau are two of my favorites I've tried. Have you tried the oud palau from Diptyque?
So oud palau, yeah, I quite like oud palau actually. A lot of people were saying it's similar to Oud Isfahan from Dior, and I can see that, but I think it has it feels drier to me. It doesn't have that lushness that Oud Isfahan and the depth of Oud Isfahan. It's a really good fragrance. I think it's definitely worth checking out. Unfortunately, I don't feel the same way about Indonesian oud from Xenia. Are you having difficulty with the connection because it's not showing up?
It's very skunky.
Yeah, it could just be internet or something. Indonesian oud from Xenia.
I think my internet might just be because you are cutting out a little bit for me as well.
Oh, is it? Okay. I don't know if my internet connection is. What's it doing? Let me just check if my internet. I think it's okay, but just 1 second.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's okay. Don't really know. But Indonesian oud from Xenia, that's tough. I mean, that was a really rubbery plaster, kind of band-aidy kind of thing, which I couldn't.
It has like a wet carpet sort of feeling to dry down for me as well.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. It is a bit strange. Okay, let's see what's happening in the comments. Yeah, the way Ensar distills is very unique, and the type of wood he uses is even more special, only high-grade incense quality. Thoughts on Dawn by Frederick Malle? Yeah?
I've not actually tried Dawn. Have you?
I have tried Dawn, yeah, and it is quite, it's very, very strong. It's also very expensive. It's definitely using real oud. It comes out quite skanky, but it settles into a kind of nice, woody, rich, regal, woody scent. They also have a hair mist as well, which, to be honest, you could kind of wear that if you don't want the full force of Dawn, which is pretty strong. Christian, let us know how would you describe Dawn? Because it's quite. I found it quite challenging, but I really don't know much about it, really.
Vito mentioned that Ensar distills in a very unique way, and from what I've heard is that a lot of oud distillers actually soak the wood chips before they distill the oud and take out the oil from the wood. Okay. From what I've heard, Ensar doesn't actually soak the wood. What he tries to do is get what the smell is in the wood into a oil format, so it doesn't actually soak the wood. Maybe that's something to do with it as well.
Could be, yeah, for sure. Slick Deal is saying, what's your favorite night out fragrances for like special events?
Special events. Yeah. That's a tough one. I think Cherokee for me.
Yeah.
From Serge Lutens. It has that very formal, classy sort of feel. Portrait of a Lady from Frederick Marr, definitely.
Okay.
Have
you got a? You've got a decant, or you got a bottle of that, or?
Frederick Marr's. I've got a decant of that. I've got about 10 mils, which is fine for me. I do want to pick up a bottle one day, though. How about yourself? Favorite night out fragrance?
Favorite night out? Maybe Bulgari Man in Black. I've been really liking that one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely love that one as well.
Yeah, that's really good. They've come out with some different versions of it as well. Black Orient, which I think is quite interesting. Also, Parfum de Mali's Herod is one that I mention a lot, but it's one of those that it just works. You know, it's just the sweetness.
I think that's one of your favorites, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, it's one of those that I don't know if I have like fragrances for life, but it probably is one of them. It probably is. It's an awesome one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. He calls it extracting the soul of the tree. Yeah, I like the way that's described. Yeah. It's pretty good. Going back to Ensar, actually. So one thing that I was keen to try, and I recently, I think it was Maximilian Huesler who spoke about Santal Royal. I don't know. Did you get that one or?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay.
I actually want to know what your thoughts are on Ensar's sandalwood. I think I've heard Ensar mention that he actually enjoys sandalwood as much as he does oud. But oud's more of the more popular sort of thing for people out there. That's what everyone's trying to get into. But actually, Ensar really enjoys sandalwood as well.
Yeah.
And from what I found, a lot of people actually use sandalwood because it helps them to sleep, because it has quite a calming sort of feel to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sandalwood is. I think he did a video a couple of days ago just talking about sandalwood, and there's going to be a part 2, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
With Sheikh Ihab.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, sandalwood has so much history. You know, especially going back to India, Mysore sandalwood. Now it's regulated by the government. I don't really know whether you can actually get Mysore sandalwood nowadays from trees.
Like you can't. It's hard to even get musk from like the Kashmiri region, but somehow people get them. And I think it's just contacts. If you've got contacts in the right world, you sort of get these ingredients. Like, for example, you get people bringing cocaine and weed and whatnot into the UK.
Yeah,
I think if you have, there's a black market for everything out there. So you're going to have a black market for oud, musk, ambergris, whatnot.
Sure. Yeah, sandalwood. So for anybody who doesn't know, Santal Royal is based on I think it says on his website, a 30 to 40-year-old red Mysore sandalwood, which has then been aged. I think it said that it's aged for 5 years. So I'm not quite sure. I guess he's got the actual chips and then produced it through steam distillation or whatever, and then aged it for 5 years, maybe.
Yeah. So I actually asked Adam. I emailed him. What does it mean? This is in terms of oud oil. I said around Ensar Oud 1985. It says that it's got 1985 in there. And I asked, is the wood chips, are they from 1985, or was the oud actually distilled in 1985? Right. And the answer is that it was distilled in 1985. So basically, what they do, they get the oud oils and they just store it, and that's all they do, and then they release it. So this one's been stored since 1985.
Right.
And storing the oud, it gives it a different sort of characteristic. And from what Adam told me, it's only the really, really good oud oils that you age with age, like a fine wine. But he said that mediocre oud oils are really poor quality oud oils. Even if you age them, there's no way that they're going to become better. It's only the very, very good oud oils that become better with age.
Fine. That kind of makes sense. I mean, that's actually something that you find in so many different worlds. I mean, if you look at the world of, not that I'm a big wine drinker, but we talk about certain vintages. One thing I do know more about is cigars, and people often talk about certain crop, and you can say that about trees as well. And one thing that, exactly what Adam said, there are many people in the cigar world who will say, you know, you can pick if the crop was bad, maybe there was a hurricane or there wasn't enough rainfall, it was maybe too hot. You can pick all the tobacco you like. You can age the tobacco for as long as you like. And aged tobacco is generally more sought after.
Wow.
But if the crop to begin with wasn't great, 10 years later of aging, not really going to do anything good for it. Wow. So, yeah, I can see that. This one, the Santal Royal here, for me, is one of those that it actually has a lot more depth than I originally thought. It's one of those where when you do your first inhalation, you get that it's almost spicy, actually. It's not as milky or creamy as I was expecting. It's actually quite spicy. But then as you really inhale it, and it's almost like it takes a few seconds of breathing in to really get it into your system.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you really then pick up all the facets? And it is actually quite calming. I really, really like this one. It's quite, you know, if you were to plot it on like a frequency chart, it's kind of just low lying, you know, just going along rather than any high peaks. It's very, very smooth. This is a really good, really good oil.
Is it quite? From what I remember, checking his website before, these sandalwood oils are quite on the cheaper side compared to his oud oils.
Yeah, you know what? It's not too bad. I think am I on it now? It's oh no, I left the page.
Yeah, I've got it here. It's $39. Yeah, which is a mid-level price for oud. I definitely do need to check out. I mean, sandalwood. I've only really smelt mixtures of Australian sandalwood and a touch of Mysore sandalwood. I've tried some of those others before, but I've not tried the pure Mysore sandalwood.
Okay. In Ensar's latest YouTube video, where they were talking about sandalwood, he was saying that sandalwood from countries like Australia or I think, is it New Caledonia?
Okay,
where they're much better. He says it's much better to use those oils in like traditional fragrance making, because they are. He used the word, they're more effusive. So I think they just push out a little bit more and they give you a little bit more straight away from the initial spray. Whereas I don't know about Mysore sandalwood as a whole, but certainly the one he has, I think you got to kind of let it keep on your skin, and it's not screaming at all. It's like you know, my hand could be like just here and I wouldn't really smell it. I would get slight wafts now and again, and it's not, you know, that it's better in oil form apparently. But
interesting.
Yeah, it does. You know what I really felt with this is that sandalwood is used like to produce things like you know, in carving boxes or temples, right?
Yeah.
And it does remind me, you've got this box, and inside this box is maybe these sandalwood beads, and you've got some spices in there, and it's a little bit dusty. Maybe it's a box that used to store some spices, but it hasn't really been cleaned out properly. And then you open the lid, and then the first thing you get is this spice, which is, it's really difficult to describe actually, because I'm trying to like pinpoint it to something that I know, but I don't really, I don't have a reference point for it. But it's smooth. It's a little bit dusty. It feels like maybe you've been walking through a forest and you've got some, you know, you've brushed the bark, or you've been chopping the tree and you've got it on your hands, and maybe you haven't washed your hands like that. But it smells great. Like it's a really good scent.
Yeah, you've told me. I definitely need to try it out.
Yeah. It was one of those where I was expecting to be blown away at first, because you see like the how many years, how many decades old it is, and you hear about Mysore sandalwood, you know, like the legend of Mysore sandalwood. But then when you really dig your nose in, that's really when you get the full wearing. Like I've worn this around. Like I want to wear it. I might wear it to work actually tomorrow, and you can almost forget about it. It's one of those that you can forget, but then when you're, you know, like when you're at your desk and you just like you're doing that, it's like you got your hand attached.
Yeah.
That's when you really get the feeling of Santal Royale, the special.
Some of the guys have mentioned House of Misk as a house to check out. I've heard of them. Actually was sent a sample by Stephen Sprotty from House of Misk.
Okay.
But I haven't tested it just yet. But I think that's another house that's quite highly recommended.
Okay, add that to the list. We got Carl here from the UK Frag Guy channel. He's a big cigar guy. Sounds like Will is a cigar guy as well. It's good to know.
Are there any more reviews coming up for you this week, Raj? I've seen that on your channel. You've become very, very consistent. You've released a video this morning regarding your favorite notes. Yeah. I've got that in my to watch list later, so I'm going to watch that tonight probably.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I've been, for me, like with YouTube, I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent, and my aim is to put out 3 videos a week on a Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. So it's got to the point where even the days that I'm going to be putting the videos out a bit more even like fixed.
Wow. Yeah.
I've got, so yeah, I mean, today, was it yesterday or was it this morning that I put up yesterday I put up the video of top 5 favorite notes, and tomorrow, so based on Saturday, I think I mentioned to you that I went to the Ouds boutique in London.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times actually.
Yeah. Oh, the London one.
Yeah, the London one. It's quite a walk from Harrods, I think. Yeah, I went on a little explore and I found Ouds there. Okay, also found the Hermes store as well.
Yeah, they're right next to each other. Yeah, it's a nice little store. Like, you know, it's good to sometimes get away from the big department stores. So I did a quick video there while I was speaking to the guys, and they seemed to be cool with me taking a little video. So that video is going live tomorrow. It's just like a couple of minutes.
Actually, of the Ouds store.
Yeah. What's that? Say that again.
I think I've seen a video of the Ouds store on your Instagram.
Yeah, that pretty much that video is, but I've added a bit of commentary to it. But cool. So what about you yourself? What are your plans for like YouTube? Are you going to be how are you like tackling it, or not tackling it, but like what's your plans? Because obviously you're studying and you've got like work and stuff. So how do you balance it all?
I tend to take a break from YouTube where I'd just be testing different fragrances for a few weeks or so, and then I would just pick a certain afternoon and I would just go on a bit of a mad one and just record as many videos as I can, and bang them out, record them, and then release them in the next few weeks or so. So say I record maybe 5 videos, I'll release 1 each week, so that's got me covered for 5 weeks, and then I'll pick another weekend again where I'll do another 5 reviews and then release them in the coming 5 weeks. So that's why sometimes in my reviews you may notice that I'm wearing the same clothes every single time. And there's some releases where I'd release some stuff, some reviews that I've done the night before, and then I won't release those videos I've done the night before until a few weeks later. So in some videos I've got longer hair, and then the very next video I've got very short hair, my beard's a lot different length and whatnot. But that's what I tend to do. I feel like you need to take a break from YouTube sometimes, because it takes a lot of time, especially like I'm not a type of guy, and you're not as well, a type of guy that does a lot of editing or like high production quality. But even then it seems to does take a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
And for me, I sort of need to be in the mood to record videos as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes after work I'm just too tired, I just can't be bothered to record a video. So it's mainly if I can find a free few hours in the weekend to record any videos. For me, like I've said, my YouTube channel's like a diary really, so I'm going to be releasing some stuff from oud, some of his oud I haven't reviewed just yet.
Okay.
Going to be reviewing stuff from Habs oud, Elixir Others, Mellifluence, Bortnikov, Arij Lidori. And after that, I definitely do want to review some of my design fragrances as well. I want to go back to some of them. I mentioned to Chris that I'm going to be reviewing Royal Potion Black as well.
Yeah, is that D squared?
D squared. I'm going to be reviewing Lolita Lampica Eau Masculine.
Okay.
I really enjoy that one. Who's the perfume? I forgot her name. Lolita Lampica Eau Masculine.
I can't remember.
She's done stuff for Body Chorus, Jaipur Home, Anik Manado, that's it.
Oh, Anik Manado, okay.
Yeah, massive fan of her work. So Lolita Lampica Eau Masculine, that's going to be reviewed on the channel.
Cool.
A few more trying to get back into reviews of sprays as well, because I know a lot of my recent videos have been about others and oils, and I feel like it's good to it as well. And yeah, that's about it. So in terms of what I've got planned.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, people take different approaches to YouTube. Like, as you said, it's what you're in the mood for. Sometimes you don't want to do a video and you don't want to like be burnt out. Like, you hear people talk about they're going through burnout, and I'm like, well, maybe you need to like stop chasing something. Like, what are you chasing? You know, you don't have to be first to put out a review. You don't have to constantly put out these big list videos and these editing big videos that take a lot of editing. They're cool and they get the views, and that's what people like, and I like that. But you never want to like overexert yourself.
Exactly.
It's finding that balance with like anything really, but especially YouTube is quite difficult. Like for me, one of the things that I kind of like a New Year's resolution was to become a bit more consistent, because I was looking back over my videos and there's long gaps, you know, 2 months sometimes, or 3 weeks, and I haven't put out any content. So I don't want to go all the way and do like 5 videos a week, but I think 3 is. I think you did a post actually on your community page a while ago. What was the general? It was like 1 a week.
General consensus was people like 1 a week. 1 a week from their reviewers. I think even I find it myself with some reviewers. Some of my favorite reviewers, if I see a video every single day, I won't watch it on that day. I'd save it for later. So definitely, I feel like once a week it's absolutely fine. You do take long gaps, but I feel like every single video I watch of yours, you're actually you're very excited to talk about the scent, because you can sort of tell when someone's really pushing about a video. They're pushing the number of videos that they're releasing. Sometimes I feel there's a bit of a rush in their delivery of their reviews, and you can sort of sense it. So for me, I feel like with reviewing, you definitely don't want to push yourself too much, because the viewers can definitely pick up on that.
You can pick up on it, yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't. It kind of becomes like this. You're like some fast food worker. You're trying to like make as many burgers in a day and just get them out, without talking about it in a passionate way. You know, it's tricky.
Yeah, I think some guys are using YouTube to chase the views and chase the subscribers as well. And I think there used to be an algorithm on YouTube as well. If you were very consistent with your uploads, you used to get more views. The algorithms would work in your favor. But I think with fragrances, because it's such a niche topic, I don't feel like there's any point really pushing for views or pushing for subscribers. You're never going to really make YouTube a living. You know, you're not going to make a living out of reviewing fragrances on YouTube. Maybe gaming channels you can. I know maybe Jeremy Fragrance can make a living from YouTube, but he's the exception. And I think it's great, by the way, what he's done. It's quite admirable that he's reviewed something and now he's working with Alberto Marias to release a fragrance. I think that's incredible. There's been a lot of hate for Jeremy Fragrance, which for me, it comes from a lot of people being quite envious of him and the success that he's had. But for me, it's inspirational what he's done, quite admirable. And he's actually bringing a lot of new guys into perfumery.
Yeah, I think it's the topic that everyone likes to talk about, Jeremy fragrance, and
Hey guys, can you see me? It looks like Raj's internet gone down, so I'll just wait for Raj. I think he's just messaged me on Facebook. Yeah, his Wi-Fi is down. Okay, just going to send an invite to Raj again. Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun, this live stream. Sorry, definitely want to do this again. Let me know in the comments, would you like me and Raj to do this again? Really nice talking to Raj. Definitely about our discussions regarding Ensar Oud. Well, come on, Raj, come back, man. People don't want to see me. Try. Sending an invite to Raj. Hey, Raj.
Hey there. Yeah, sorry. I think it's just my Wi-Fi or something.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
What were we talking? We were talking about just reviewing
Jeremy fragrance. Yeah.
Jeremy fragrance. Sorry, I'm just going to be just checking the comments. Raj, are you there? Live feeds froze. The internet's playing up. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to go through see if I missed anything in the comments really, but fancy editing is unnecessary. Need a UK meetup, yeah, for sure. I think Carl's going to make his way down to London, so let's
well, let me know. I'll be more than happy to come down and meet you guys.
It's been a while actually. I mean, we met Greg and Dan from Mr. Smelly, Claire, Prince Ty. Obviously, Chad came down from Canada, so that was cool.
Yeah. Definitely.
Will saying, I feel kind of bad for some reviewers. It's a lot of pressure. Same day release, full reviews are a pet hate of mine. Yeah.
Hey, definitely. It's so annoying. Sometimes I go to my subscription feed and about 10 of the 10 reviews. It's highly annoying because I find some of the reviews as well are, you can tell they've not tested the fragrance long enough. They've just tested it just to release the video. And I feel like it's not just informative to the viewers out there. It's just doing a massive injustice to people that are actually watching it.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. You know, fragrances sometimes even the linear ones, even the ones that are more straightforward, you still need to wear them a few times. I mean, for me, the bare minimum is going through at least a 1 ml sample. If you can't test a 1 ml sample, then there's no point. I mean, if I had a full bottle, there are bottles that I might have them for years and wear them season after season, and then I'll review them just because you might as well do as complete a review as possible, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's been many times where I've tested a fragrance and then I've come back to it and my opinion of the fragrance has completely changed.
Yeah.
So it's always best to just give numerous testings before you release a review, because you're really putting your own opinion out there.
Absolutely.
So it's best to take your time.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned that you don't think people can make a career out of YouTube, and obviously Jeremy being the exception. And yeah, I kind of feel like, you know, what he's doing is from a sort of entrepreneurial point of view, it's good. Obviously, there are certain things about Jeremy that I'm not a fan of, and there's been some controversial things actually, which some people are ignoring. But I'm not going to go in. Yeah, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail like about him. But if you look at like the next step down from him, you've got people like Stephen from Redolescence, and you know, you maybe you can't make a living, but it's a pretty good source of income, I imagine, for the massive channels.
And Stephen's got a brilliant channel. I feel his reviews are very detailed, and he's the type of guy that I really watch. And I didn't think he'd have a mass appeal, but he's got something like 70,000 subscribers, which is amazing.
Yeah, he's massive. Yeah, he's definitely grown a lot from the other days. I think he's one of those guys who's quite objective.
Yeah.
And you know, some people like hearing when you really dislike something. Saying it, he kind of holds back sometimes, which you can tell.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, one thing I found interesting was there's you know, Timmy from Imagine Scent.
Yeah, he uploads every day.
Yeah, he uploads every day, and he had a goal for this year to go from like approximately 20K to 70K. And
wow, in 1 year?
In 1 year, which I don't know. I mean, that's pretty ambitious. But you know, what is the reach of a fragrance reviewer? Like, you know, when you tell people that you review fragrances, what is generally their view? Do they find it weird, or is it totally normal?
Yeah, so I've told some people that I review fragrances at work, and they just find it odd that someone actually likes fragrances that much. And then to actually talk about it, they're just like, they're actually surprised I can talk about a fragrance for like say 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
For them, it would just be a simple 30-second, like, yeah, it smells good, it smells spicy, it smells sweet and whatnot. I think the casual person out there wouldn't really tune in to watch fragrance reviews. You have to be sort of enthusiast.
Yeah, you got to be enthusiastic. It's a very niche sort of thing to get into, isn't it? Really. What's your favorite type of video out there? You know, do you think, because some people are very focused on the views and they put out certain types of videos, and I've seen comments where, you know, in the comments people have said, oh, can you do a review on this? And then the reviewer will say, well, I did do a review on a similar thing, but it didn't get many views. Like, you guys weren't interested.
Wow.
So, you know,
okay.
Should you do a video because you're passionate about it, or because you're thinking about how many people are going to be interested?
It's a strange one. For me, I really don't care. It's not in my mind, am I going to get views for this? Because I review stuff that people can't even buy anymore because I've got oodles that are discontinued and whatnot. For me, it's just like I've said, it's like a diary of sharing my experiences and sharing a sort of passion. You know, some people have said that they've started to explore oud and explore others because of my reviews, and I think that's great. I became interested in fragrances because one day I just did a Google search on a fragrance and I found Mark's videos. I think back in those days when it was easier for an enthusiast to get to view videos, YouTube videos, reviews, like really insightful videos. I feel like enthusiasts now, when they come to YouTube and see, do a simple search, I think the first few videos will see will be all low content reviews. I think a lot of people are going to be off put by those type of videos because I see some some new reviewers, very good. There's a new chap as well that I commented on his video today. Yes, and Durga. It was a great review, and I thought he was a new reviewer that he just started a few weeks ago, but I seen that he's been reviewing for the past 6 months and he's only got 100 subscribers. Now, remember when we started reviewing, like whenever a new reviewer came out a few years ago, within the first month he would get 100 subscribers. Quite easy for people to get subscribers. I feel like now, I think so many new people that are enthusiasts are being put off by watching reviews on YouTube. Even I've been guilty of that. I've stopped watching a lot of YouTube reviews because I find that a lot of reviewers are now being influenced to really make top 10 lists, compliment getting fragrance reviews rather than focusing on real art forms. And I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of great reviews out there because I just simply can't find them. Like doing a YouTube search, certain reviews, you don't really find many. You have to trawl through the number of videos until you find someone that's actually quite passionate about what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know if it's something to do with the YouTube algorithm, as you mentioned, you know, certain keywords maybe are promoted more, certain types of videos maybe are promoted more, certain channels will then be pushed to the viewers. And I think that's the way the world is going. You know, a lot of people just want quick, snappy content. You know, they don't really want to sit down. Like I remember the days when Mark used to come out with a video, and I remember coming back from work and I would I'd sit there and I'm ready for this 15-20 minute movie kind of. But for now, I just think the viewer has probably changed. I mean, what about you? Do you want to watch a 20-minute review anymore, or does it depend
It depends on who's doing the review and what fragrance it is. I still watch a lot of Mark's old videos. He's really releasing them because they've been taken down, some of them. Because I actually really enjoy the longer videos, and I like his opinions and the way he really digs into reviews. I think because I work in analytics as well, so I look at the YouTube analytics, and what's quite interesting to me is the device type that people are watching YouTube reviews now. In the past, my analytics said most people were watching on laptop or desktop. Now that's changed. The vast majority of people are watching reviews on their mobile phone. I think with mobile phones, you don't want to be holding your phone and watching a review for 30 minutes. It's more of the quick, snappy videos. So maybe that has something to play with it as well. It's the same in e-commerce as well. Sites like eBay, all these other e-commerce sites, most people shop on mobile now rather than desktop. So a lot of companies are changing the look of their website to be more mobile responsive. So maybe as reviewers, we need to take that on board as well, make our videos more aligned for the viewer that's going to be watching on their mobile phone rather than sitting at home and watching it on their desktop computer.
Sure, yeah. But then on the other hand, you know, what that has done is that there's a lot of content out there, and I'm not going to name any names, but there's content out there which I subscribe to these guys and I watch them and I might leave a like or a comment, but they're very much videos that I'll have on in the background.
Yeah.
So I might be doing the ironing, or I might be cooking or something, or folding my washing, like really like boring stuff like that. And I might just have a video on. I don't need to be sat down listening to every single word that that person says, because it's you know, it's just, that's just not a lot of the content nowadays like that. So.
Shame, because I feel like a lot of guys that want to get into reviewing YouTube videos now are being influenced by the people that get a lot of views and a lot of subscribers. So they're just making videos now because they're influenced by that. They don't really want to review because they want to share their passion or their experiences. And you can tell some of the videos are really pushing on the compliment guesses and trying to chase views. And it's a shame because it really brings down the quality for the viewer out there.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, one thing that's interesting is that if you look at the way that the industry, especially the niche industry, has developed, there are so many new brands and so many new releases.
Yeah.
And in the designer market, you've got loads of flankers, and you know, there is some old classics. You know, a fragrance that has come out, say, 5 years ago is now almost forgotten. And you've got all these niche houses just expanding. But sometimes what you'll find on YouTube is that the same fragrances are spoken about. And I think sometimes people are a little bit scared to talk about, you know, like one brand I recently tried a few fragrances from was Rania J. I had some samples a long time ago, and I went back to them. But, you know, some people might feel like, oh, if I speak about a brand like Rania J, who's only going to appeal to a small group of people, what's the point of putting out a review? What's the point of putting in the effort? How much AdSense money are you going to make? And then that puts people off. But you got to, as you said, it's a diary. It's, you know, whatever's a reflection of your interests at that moment in time is what I feel YouTube should be.
I think you touched on a great point there. I remember in the past when I used to watch YouTube reviews, maybe 2011, 2012, I used to find out about new houses, new fragrance houses to check out. And it seems nowadays it's less of that. I don't really hear about these new niche houses or these new obscure indie houses as much as I did back then. Like I walked into Liberty the other day and there was brands that I never heard of before. And I smelt them and I thought these were great. And I'm like, why is nobody talking about them? And it's a great shame because YouTube used to be the place where I used to come to find out about new fragrances. But like you've said, people are now thinking, should I really be talking about this brand if it's not going to get me the views or the subscribers or whatnot? It's a great shame.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, today we mentioned, you mentioned Mark. It's a shame that a lot of his older stuff got taken down, which was like bullshit, to be honest. But he's now uploading them. And one video that he uploaded, was it today or yesterday? He did this niche haul back in like 2011 or 2012. And that I commented on that video today saying, I really remember that video so well because he went on like this mad shopping spree of like buying like 30 niche fragrances, expensive ones as well. And I remember when I was getting into fragrances around that time, when he put out that video, that's when I was kind of really getting into it. And I remember going back to that video several times, and I watched it again yesterday. And the number of new brands you would hear about was amazing. He was talking about like Serge Luton Fumery Turk, Pure Distance M, Agoniste. He would bring up like Nasomato. And then I'm watching this video like, oh my God, I don't know any of these brands. I'm making notes, adding them to my try list.
Wow. Yeah.
But now I feel like for me, obviously I'm really into fragrances myself, so I'll go out there and try new stuff and explore new stuff. But as a viewer, like you're sitting back and you're expecting the reviewer to put out stuff. But what are you learning really? I mean, there's so much out there. It's unbelievable. There are some channels who talk about the more under the radar stuff.
Oh, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I guess it.
So like I walked into the shop that you recommended on your channel a few weeks ago, Les Santos, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And I I was surprised to find that actually Alberto Moraes has his own house.
Yes.
So he's designed his own fragrances.
Yes.
I'm surprised I've never heard of it before. You would thought you'd hear about something like that on YouTube, but
absolutely,
just the way it is.
It's called Ensar.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Olivier Cresp has got a new line out called Arco Fragrances, which is his new line. I'm just waiting for Bertrand Duchaufour to come out with his own line, because that's going to be. I mean, it's not happening, but like I wish it would.
All right. Is he one of your favorite fragrances? I mean, one of your perfumers.
Yeah, perfumers. Absolutely. I sampled, not sampled, but yesterday I went to the Javoy store in London. Where that was a mind-blowing experience, like some of the stuff they had there. And I went back to Chypre Palatin from Parfum MDCI, which is a fragrance I used to own in a full-size bottle, partially used.
Yeah.
Just what is going on in that fragrance is it's nuts. It's so good, but really like complex. It's a great fragrance. And I remember when I was getting into fragrances, and even when I was still reviewing, you would hear about brands like L'Artisan Parfumeur. Nobody talks about L'Artisan nowadays.
Yeah.
Nasomato, even though the brand they haven't been putting out much stuff, but they have lots of other fragrances. Hindu Grass. It's not just Black Afghano, Duro, but I don't know. It feels like a lot of people just
I can't see. Yeah, you're right. I've not heard of Nasomato in a long time. There's a lot of brands that used to be talked about a lot back in the day. Serge Lutens was one brand that was talked about a lot.
Serge Lutens, when was the last time you saw a Serge Lutens review or video?
Last time I saw a review was by Triple Ink. I think last year or so. It was really well made. Triple Ink. He's left YouTube now. He's not reviewing anymore. But he's one guy that I used to really watch, because his production values were just out of this world. He was brilliant.
Yeah, he really was. He really was great. I mean, for me, he was one of my favorite reviewers. And what I quite liked about him was that it wasn't all flashy editing stuff. He actually did have like an interest, genuine passion about it.
There was some substance there, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to catch up on the comments. YouTube doesn't seem to be bringing the same passion anymore, minus folk like yourselves. Thanks, Will. Yeah,
thank you.
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. But you know, at the same time, going on to designer fragrances, do you think some of the disinterest or this lack of passion is because a lot of the designer brands are coming out with the
So you just cut out a bit. You said that the design house is not bringing the same level of fragrances anymore. I think the live streams froze again. Guys, can you hear Raj or can you hear B? I think, damn, damn Wi-Fi. Send that to Raj again. Sorry about this, guys. I think Raj will be on soon. Come on, Raj. Nobody wants to see my face. Hurry up, man. got some new guys in the comments in the top chat. What's your sense of the day, guys? Let me know. Really enjoying this live chat though, guys. So let me know if you want to see more of these on my channel. Maybe this is something me and Raj can do maybe once a month or something. Hey Raj, welcome back.
Hey there, guys. Yeah, sorry. I think I might have to cancel my contract with Vodafone because it's been happening over the last month.
Oh,
like
wow.
I can see like, the red light just like pulses.
Yeah.
So what I've done is that I've just connected my because I'm on my iPad, so I've connected my Wi-Fi to my phone's as a personal hotspot. So I've disconnected from the
okay,
thing.
yeah.
Luckily, it's my work phone, so I'm not using the data.
Oh, that's all right then.
That's not too bad. Yeah, just continue with what you're saying. And what I'm going to do, I need to just plug my thing into the charger. So just 1 second.
Yeah. Was you mentioning stuff regarding? Oh, you can't hear me right now, can you? Okay, no problem. I think Raj was mentioning regarding designer fragrances and the lackluster releases that you get. Just gonna wait for Raj to come back on because I want to know his opinion as well. Just reading one of the comments. Will was mentioned that he'd like to see Nickel on one of these live streams. So I asked the guys if they're enjoying the live stream and would they like us to do this more often. I've mentioned that maybe we could do this maybe once every few months or so. I think really been enjoying the chat. Be nice to have some of the other reviewers on here like Nikhil, Peter, and some of these subscribers if they want to come on one of these live chats just to talk. I think it'd be great.
I think that's a really good idea. I mean, there's so many subscribers out there, but we don't like hear from them. We don't see them, like we hear them.
Yeah.
So that would be quite cool.
There's some subscribers that have so much knowledge regarding fragrances. It's unbelievable. But maybe they're just camera shy. They don't want to talk in front of the camera, which I can totally understand. There's some great Instagrammers as well that have such knowledge regarding fragrances. And I think Instagram's a great platform as well. There's not much of what we're seeing on YouTube at the moment regarding chasing views. There's a lot. There's not top 10 lists that I typically find in Instagram. There's a lot of enthusiasts on Instagram as well, like Vitor. So that's
yeah, for sure. You know, actually, to be honest, probably one of the best ways of getting into fragrances nowadays is through Instagram. I mean, there's some really big guys out there. They've got some interesting posts, and you know, I get it. A lot of the time, people don't want to watch a review; they just want to read a couple of sentences, couple of paragraphs, and you'll pretty much get a good vibe for it. So I can totally get that. Yeah.
Just going back on what you were saying regarding designers before you cut out, I think you mentioned something regarding. I'm going to assume here that you said there was some lackluster reviews from designer houses.
Yeah. So basically, what I think maybe is some of the one of the reasons why some people aren't so passionate about fragrances is because there's so much, you know, just junk that comes out nowadays, and it comes on both sides of the market. You've got flanker after flanker. You know, the YSL Lom line has been done to death. How many different versions of, I don't know, like Luna Rossa do we need from Prada? Sometimes people get pissed off with performance or, you know, reformulations. And then on the niche side, you've got these super high-end brands coming out with really, really expensive and packaging. And then when you smell it, you're like, why are they charging this much? So you're kind of.
I find that with Roger Parfum, he bought out, I think, is it Elysium? For me, it just smells like Bleu de Chanel and Sauvage mixed together. It was one of the most disappointing releases ever, and the price he's commanding for it is just ridiculous.
Yeah, he's asking a lot of money, so you have to do a lot of digging nowadays. I find.
Yeah, I find that. there was great releases in the early 2000s for designer fragrances.
Yeah.
In the 90s, on the designer market, and what perfumers are actually able to use. And I think some companies are now seeing the successes. I think Chanel started it off with Bleu de Chanel, and then when Sauvage came out, it just went crazy. A lot of companies are now trying to follow that formula, and mainly you see a lot of designers, they contain Abroxan, and they're trying to hit that market.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I don't mind the use of those types of notes, and I don't mind these blue marine type fragrances. Sometimes that's really all I want to wear. You know, I got a sample of this Issey Miyake one called Blue Nuit de Say Blue Astral, which I don't think is released in America or something, but it's here in the UK, and it has that kind of nice shower gel kind of vibe. And sometimes, you know, I don't mind that. I don't mind it. Like the Issey Miyake fragrances are quite reliable. They're not super expensive, and you get what you pay for. But then when I'm paying Sauvage money, or even if you think about like Bleu de Chanel, the Parfum version or the Eau de Parfum version, they're much more expensive than the EDT. And it's like you're getting this grooming product for a super high price. And I just don't understand it. You know, I really don't get it. There's so much blandness out there. And do people like this stuff? I mean, do they? Or is it just because that's all they know? That's all that's being forced down their throat?
It's all, I think that's all they know. It's just the casual consumer, especially here in the UK. I think fragrances are used a lot for gift giving. So for, say, Valentine's Day or Christmas or birthdays, a lot of gifting is done. And I think it's gifted by other people. So there's so someone's girlfriend might go into a designer store and they've just asked for a recommendation what they could get for their boyfriend, and I think a lot of the sales associates are just going to be like, yeah, this is the big one that you want to buy. And I think like the smell, obviously, to the general public out there, it's nice, you know, it's not got any of the skanky stuff, so they're going to buy it, and I think that's where it's going.
Yeah, you know, look, I totally get the design. I like designer fragrances, actually. I think there's a lot of great stuff out there. I think you could totally have a collection that is just designer, and you could be doing pretty well. But it's almost like, because sales guys are incentivized so much with commission, a lot of people, you know, there's some people who they don't know anything about fragrances, but the brand or the company, the department store has taken them on, and they've given them like a 2-day training course, and you can tell, like, when you ask them certain questions or you speak to them, and they're only going to push what is hot right now or what's been recently released. Which is a shame, because I feel like that the whole fun, the whole part of the experience is going into the fragrance store, checking out the new releases. Totally, there are some good ones out there, but then seeing something maybe at the bottom of the shelf, or seeing something from a brand like Chanel, which is well known, like Anteos or Pour Monsieur, and thinking, hang on, nobody's talking about these. Everyone's pushing Bleu de Chanel, but these ones are pretty interesting too. So it's like people aren't allowed to go on that journey anymore. They're being told, this is the latest release, buy this. Johnny Depp is like on every bus stop that you'll go by, and you see his advertisements everywhere. So I don't know about the designer market. I feel like 2018 hasn't been a great year. I don't know about what do you think about?
I think the last few years have been quite forgettable. I have not really noticed any new designer brands that have really blown me away. Just reading some of the comments, Beatles, it said, sorry guys, I have to go. It's been a blast. Thank you for the shout outs. Hopefully I can get to join in one of these. Definitely.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks for joining this, Beatle. It was just left as well. So thanks. Check the time. I should definitely leave it here for now. So yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Raj. It's been a blast. So hopefully we can do one of these again.
Yeah, definitely. It's been good linking up. It's good to talk. Like, live streams are kind of cool because you can just like freestyle, isn't it? Really, you can just whatever comes to mind. It's quite interesting. Cool, man. Well, yeah, it's been a good one.
Yeah, you too. Have a good night. Have a good day at work tomorrow. Take it easy.
You too. Have a good week. Take care. See you guys.
Bye. Cheers. Bye, guys.